Estimation involves calculating with numbers rounded to one significant figure or to a level where you can easily do the sum in your head. You might use estimation to check answers or to pre-check answers to sums, or when you just simply don't need answers that are super accurate. So for example, if you're doing estimation in a real life situation and it's to do with how much money you've got to spend, you don't need to know to the nearest penny. You only need to know to the nearest pound, or maybe even the nearest £10, that sort of thing. So it's basically just two steps to estimation. First of all, you take each number that's part of the sum and you round them, and then you calculate with your rounded answers. So let's have a go at doing that. So here's our example. We've got £42.99, and we need to take away from that £2.49 times 5.6. Let's start with the rounding. So to one significant figure, £42.99 means we're going to round it to the nearest £10, which means that will become £40. Then we're going to take off £2.49. Again, if we round that to the nearest significant figure, that would actually be £2. And then again, we're going to round this number on the end to one significant figure, so that would mean to the nearest whole one, so that would be 6. So remembering your BODMAS rules, we're going to do this section of the sum first. So 2 times 6 gives us £12, and now we're going to do £40 minus the 12, which is going to give us an answer of £28. Let's do one more example. So slightly more complex example here, but we're going to start in the same way again by just rounding these numbers to one significant figure or to what seems a sensible level so that you could do it easily in your head. So to one significant figure, this 4,216 would be 4,000. And then here we've got 89. So you could round it to 90, but I don't particularly like multiplying by 90, so I'm actually going to round it to 100. So there's no hard and fast rules here. It's not like proper rounding. You're just doing it so that you've got a rough idea of what the answer is, so you can be a bit lenient on your rounding. So what you can't do is be too lenient when you've got a 0 point to round. So we do need to do this to one significant figure. So that would be rounding it to here, which would make it 0.4. If we were to round it to the nearest whole number, it would be 0, and then we'd be in all sorts of trouble there. And rounding it up to 1 would be a really big round, so we don't get to do this. So this is our amended or transformed sum. So the top part of this sum is fairly straightforward. 4,000 times 100 is going to give us 400,000, and that's all over 0.4. So we're dividing by a decimal. So to divide by a decimal, remember we're just going to turn that decimal into a whole number and then work from there. So in this case, we're going to turn it into a whole number by timesing by 10. So that means we'd have 4 on the bottom, and what we do to the bottom we must do to the top. So that would then give us 400,000. We're now going to have 4 million. And then as you can see, it's a relatively straightforward job to actually do this sum. So 4 million divided by 4 is going to give us 1 million. So although we've done this paper and pencil style, and if you're doing it in an exam, obviously you'd have to show your workings out, but in theory you could have done that some in your head completely. So just a word of warning. If you're doing estimation in a real life context, situation, question, however you want to think about it, if it's about needing to know if you've got enough of something, enough money to pay your bill, enough carpet for your room or whatever, then actually you're estimating, the rounding part of your estimating means that you need to go up and not ever round down. If you think about it, if it's the example of buying carpet for a room, if you rounded your measurements down, there's a chance that you wouldn't have enough carpet and you'd have a gap somewhere around the edge, and you wouldn't want that. So there are some situations where you're estimating you'd need to actually round up to make sure that you've got enough.